Hey there, I'm Joe Carter. If you've ever popped the hood and thought, where do I even start? You're in good company. Around here, we take the mystery out of car repair, one fix at a time. Whether you're a beginner or just looking to sharpen your skills, there's something here for you. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're into learning without the headaches. All right, that's enough from me. Let's get into
Ball
it.
bearing is designed for reliable movable fastening of the wheel hub to the suspension arm. The ball bearing consists of a ball pin, a housing and a plastic insert. The body of the ball bearing is either spot welded from two halves with stamped, spherical recesses with a hole for the pin in one of them, or is a thick-walled metal cup in which the insert with the pin is inserted, after which the bottom is put, and the edge is welded so that the design is not disassembled. Sometimes the liner is not made, but the gap between the body and the ball is filled with softened polyamide plastic. Usually an extruder is used for this purpose. It is also used as the main equipment in companies for ball bearing restoration. To protect the mating surfaces of the ball joint from water and dirt, a rubber duster is put on top. However, the joint of the welded housing is not hermetically sealed, so water can get inside the housing through it even with a complete dust cover. Therefore, if the body of the unit consists of two parts, it is desirable to fill it with little through the duster. Diagnosis of the ball bearing: if during the movement of the car on an uneven road heard a knock or squeak suspension, perhaps these sounds come from worn ball bearings. It is better to determine the source of unpleasant sounds by two people. One should go down to the inspection pit and put his hand on the ball bearing, and the other should rock the car. When you feel the sound with your own hands, remove the support, clamp it in a vise, and check the play of the joint. The finger should not move from a small effort, but it should not bite it either, otherwise the node requires repair or replacement. This check must also be carried out in the following cases: squeaking when turning the steering wheel, spontaneous wiggling when driving in a straight line, tight steering wheel. How to remove and install the ball bearing with your own hands: ball bearing puller, jack, stand under the car, set of keys, pliers, tire iron. The ball bearing puller, as a rule, is not universal. If you have not found a suitable puller, it can be successfully replaced with a hammer. Only you need to know where to hit. It is not necessary to knock the pin out of the seat. The blow should be perpendicular to the pin, and hit the lug. Since the pin is tapered, a slight pressure of the seat will squeeze it out of the lug. A hammer is a universal puller. It should be neither too heavy nor too light. 600 grams will be just right. Removal: loosen the wheel mounting. Raise the car on the jack. Remove the wheel. Turn the steering wheel so that you can work comfortably. If the pin nut is cotter pinned, remove the cotter pin with pliers. Unscrew the nut. Take a puller and press out the pin. Unscrew the ball housing fastener. Use a tire iron to push off the lower arm and remove the ball joint. Removal and repair of the steering rod lugs and ball bearings is no different. You only need to take a different puller. Restoration methods are identical. Installation: attach the joint housing to the lower arm, tighten the fasteners, press the lower arm with a tire iron, insert the pin into the seat. Screw the nut onto the pin, tighten it. If the pin will rotate, pull the lever up with a tire iron, the pin with the seating tapered so when pushing the pin it stops rotating in the seating. Do not forget to cotter pin the nut. You do not need a puller for installation. The next bearing replacement will not make you fuss with cotter pins if you change the nuts to self-locking. Restoration of supports can be done in two ways: remodeling of non-disassembled joint into a disassembled one, grinding the ball of the pin and replacing the inserts, repair by injecting softened plastic into the gap between the ball and the body using an extruder. Of course, you should not buy equipment for one-time repair, but the simplest extruder can be quickly made with your own hands from an old brake master cylinder, attaching a lever to it to push the piston. It can be heated to soften the plastic with a torch or a blowtorch. Repairing the ball bearing with your own hands. Repair and restoration in the first way begins with disassembly of the supports. To disassemble the body welded from 2 cups, it is necessary to drill out the welding points on one of the cups and separate the cups with a chisel and a hammer. On the body with the inserted bottom, with the help of emery or a bulgarka, flatten the flared edges, and by hitting the hammer in the end of the finger, knock out the bottom. In the body of 2 cups inserted, insert with a finger, halves are pressed against each other and made several tack welding, trying not to overheat the insert. Measure the outer and inner diameter of the body with the bottom removed and make a steel ring according to these dimensions, about 10 mm high, with a thread inside and a plug screwed into it. Weld the ring to the body, cool down, insert the insert with the pin into the body, screw in the plug, press the plug with it, drill a hole 2 mm in the ring close to the plug and cotter it. Repair and restoration with your own hands using the second method usually takes place without disassembly of the unit. A hole with a diameter of about 6 mm is drilled in the bottom of the housing. Its size depends on which extruder is available. The gap between the ball and the inserts is cleaned of dirt and blown out of sand and chips with compressed air. Through a hole drilled in the bottom using an extruder into the gap between the pin ball and the housing, inject softened plastic. Allow it to cool and the repair is ready. The disadvantage of this method is that you can't see if the geometry of the ball is preserved and you can't grind it to remove corrosion marks, so the results will be short-lived. Useful tips for restoring the ball bearing with your own hands. Useful tips on how to restore the ball joint. Do not undertake the restoration of the joint if the pin is removed from it without disassembly. Such a node will not help repair, but only replacement. The hole for the pin in the body should be smaller than the diameter of the ball too. In case of wear of the insert, the pin could not fly out of the housing, causing an accident. In conclusion, restoring a ball bearing with your own hands not only saves you money but also ensures a level of quality that often surpasses mass-produced duplicates. By following the steps we've outlined, you can extend the life of your bearings and gain a deeper understanding of their mechanics. Remember, with a little patience and the right tools, you can achieve impressive results. Thank you for watching, and we hope you feel inspired to take on this rewarding DIY project.